Are we supposed to record these?
What'd you say?
Are we supposed to record these?
It just automatically started recording, so I'm assuming that's how they set them up.
Gotcha. I took some ibuprofen. It stopped throbbing now, so we're making progress.
What'd you say?
I took ibuprofen for my finger. It stopped throbbing now, so we're making progress.
It's still throbbing?
Well, it's not. I took ibuprofen because it was like, it was distracting. And now it's not. So
that's horrible.
I still just wish someone else saw what happened because I never even knew that could happen.
I've never seen that happen before.
Well, now you know. Don't pour somewhat hot liquid into boiling hot liquid. It will explode.
Noted.
Well, we have Karen, so you know, at least there's one.
As if she doesn't know.
Right, the person who knows more than we do.
Right. I don't think I realized how big this office is.
Do you feel like it's bigger than your other one?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like taking those, they got those file cabinets out, weren't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel like that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Steve.
I thought I'd listen in, see what I can learn.
Perfect. We'll give it a few more minutes to see if we have any late arrivals.
So far it's just, oh, there's Kari. Okay.
All right, well, if we have any more people join us, they can just hop right on. But Katie and I are here to chat with all of you about the our fundraising efforts, our public relations, endowment campaign, all of that fun stuff. So I think Katie is going to start us off.
Yeah, so I'm Katie, for those who are unfamiliar. So I kind of oversee, Chelsea's definitely the boots on the ground, but I kind of started in that position and now oversee Chelsea and kind of help her along and work, very much work as a team to try and make all these things come together. So Chelsea, I don't know if you want to go over.
Oh, I guess I can do that.
Introduce yourself, but
yeah. And I am Chelsea, and I am the fundraising, marketing, events person here at NeighborWorks. So kind of have my hand in a lot of different things. But yeah, Katie and I work together to make all of these things happen. So we're excited to talk more about our efforts.
Yeah, so if you want to go to the next slide, just to kind of go over, we updated this in 2018, I want to say. We had a mission statement and it included the word low income, and we were kind of trying to get away from that. While we definitely serve the low income population, we didn't want to limit ourselves. And so we did change that to our mission is NeighborWorks Great Falls, create strong neighborhoods and successful homeowners by developing and promoting quality affordable housing. So encompassing of a lot of things there. We also in 2018 updated our vision statement to be a sustainable leader in community housing and neighborhood solutions, which definitely encompasses not only what we do on a housing development front, but as well as encompassing what the HOC team does, and then is also from a community building standpoint. And then came up with our values And we kind of had a committee that worked through this, but excellence, we strive for quality in all that we can do. Collaboration, partnerships increase our impact. Achievement, education is the foundation for success. Responsibility, we manage our resources ethically and sustainably. And passion, we care about our neighbors. So that's kind of as a group in 2018 how we updated and are looking towards the future as a brand. So.
So jumping into our fundraising efforts, so you'll see listed on the screen the various campaigns that we have throughout the year, and I put these in order of our fiscal year, which starts in October. So we have our fall and spring newsletter, so we send that out twice a year. We have Giving Tuesday. We don't do a huge campaign for Giving Tuesday, but we definitely participate just because it is so close to our Christmas letter that we send out in late November or early December. And then we have our fund drive, which we will dive deeper into that here in just a minute. And Give Great Falls, which is just like a local giving week where nonprofits throughout Great Falls can register for this event and fundraise for their organization. And then we have a summer appeal letter, which will be sent out here in a few weeks, and we send that out every June. And that's just kind of to reach out to those who have yet to give this fiscal year and to give them one more opportunity to do so. So those are some of our larger annual fundraising campaigns. Obviously, throughout the year, sometimes we'll do small Facebook fundraisers or small things like that. But these are some of our larger efforts. So diving deeper into our fund drive. So for, I don't even know how many years, we did a phone-a-thon style fund drive. And so basically, organizations like, you can see the participating businesses from last year, but organizations like these would get a team together, and then they would receive a list of other businesses in town to call and solicit support for NeighborWorks on our behalf. And so just with times kind of changing, we decided to switch it up a little bit last year, or I guess this year. And so what we did was we still allowed organizations to participate in a phone-a-thon type way, but we also opened it up to allow these organizations to host a fundraiser at their business that made sense for them. So for example, Farron's Furniture did something very different than the Block. The Block did, so a certain percentage of all family meals that were sold that week, those proceeds were donated to NeighborWorks. Central Avenue Meats, they donated a portion of a certain meat that they sold that week. So just working more individually with organizations and making it fun for them, and something that worked for us too. So that's kind of the overview of our fund drive. This year we raised $16,400 from 126 donations in a week, which was good. And we're excited to continue to expand the fund drive and to incorporate more businesses, specifically more downtown businesses. Anything I'm missing?
And I will add, I was just going to add, the fund drive has gone on for a really long time with kind of a core group of lenders and title companies. And I think originally, I think it dates back into the 90s. It was very much people would visit the businesses and actually go to them. And as we've, transpired and there's more teams and more volunteers, it did become this phone-a-thon aspect that, even before COVID, we talked about how do we adjust this to make it more effective, be more efficient on the internal side, because it took a lot of time with all of those contacting and setting up all of those individual volunteers. And then, like Chelsea said, how do we make it more fun and more relatable for the businesses? And so I think this year was very different, but went really well. And, we talked a lot about how obviously we had to adjust because of COVID, but we really were like, we really want to change this long term. We're not changing it because of COVID, we're changing it because we want it to be better. And so I think last year was a reflection of that. And I think the following years will be even better as we don't have to hopefully deal with COVID. So.
Yeah, and I think, Steve King, who's on the call, can be a true testament to how fun it could be. I know that talking with some staff members at Montana Credit Union, they had said it was a lot of fun to host the different fundraisers that you guys did that week. So that's always good to hear.
Yeah, it actually was a lot of fun. We did a lot of different things. We did music where you could pick your music for the moment, and then people would have to bid to get it changed back to what they liked. And we're actually going to take a couple of those things and do them later in the year for other purposes, actually. So it turned into something better for us as well at the end of the day. So
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, so we'll hopefully continue to expand this. And obviously we incorporate staff and board into the fund drive as well. Staff had a list of businesses to call. We weren't really doing any visits this year just because of COVID and everything, but hopefully we can get back to some of that as well.
And one more item that really came as a benefit, and you can show the photos, but it, previously had been a lot of, like I said, lending and title companies, companies that are kind of somewhat more internal. And so the way we expanded it to allow shopping, and restaurants to be to participate, I feel like it became a lot more visible this year. Last year, unless, previous years, unless you were a business that got called on specifically, you may or may not know that it was happening, versus this year, if you went to the block just to get a sandwich, you'd find out about NeighborWorks Fund Drive. And so I think that was a benefit that we're going to build on, and we're really excited to see the reach of the difference this year between previous years. So these are just some photos of some of the teams, just a few of the teams that participated last year. Oh, and there's two of the same photo, my bad.
Oops. So the other large campaign we have is our endowment campaign. So the endowment fund was started back in 2010 with a pretty large gift that we received. But we didn't go public with our endowment campaign until 2017. And since then we've raised, you can see our current standing is 1.5 million. And that's in cash and pledges. So our campaign goal is 2.5 million. So we have less than $1 million to go. Very exciting. And basically the point of the endowment is to be able to use the earnings from the endowment fund to help 100 neighbors into homeownership forever. And so we are currently raising money with individualized donor meetings, something we started back in 2019 and just kind of picked up now that we're on the downhill slide of COVID, is cocktail parties. So asking people in our circle to host cocktail parties and introduce us to their friends and their circle. And then we also do different appeal letters to various foundations, different people. So the main driver behind the endowment campaign is our endowment committee. And we meet on the first Tuesday of every month from 4 to 5 p.m. And this is a group of board members and non-board members that's kind of leading these efforts through fundraising, networking, and leading the different outreach efforts for the campaign. So, this committee is helping us come up with new ideas for marketing the campaign, fundraising, and really to be on the committee, you have to be willing to ask for donations as well as give a gift to the endowment campaign that's according to your means. So obviously that looks different for everyone. And we have a lot of great people on this committee who offer advice and direction for the campaign based on their area of expertise. So
I will add, as far as like being willing to actually solicit donations, I know some on the committee are more comfortable than others, but I think the key to that is more being open to providing connections. So whether you actually are the one, asking that person, that may not be the case. It may more be, I know this person and they might be interested, and I'll, open that door for Chelsea or Sherry to meet with them to create that conversation. So I just want to point that out because I know a lot of people don't like to ask for money, and it's not a committee that necessarily runs around and asks everyone they know, but definitely being open to sharing your connections and sharing your expertise and just your network so that we can expand our base of who might be willing to listen and potentially donate to our endowment.
Yes, so hopefully we will wrap up this campaign. Obviously, we will continue to fundraise for the endowment indefinitely, but we're really looking now towards this last million and how we can efficiently raise these funds in order for us to start drawing on the endowment funds. So as you all hopefully have seen, this is a part of the board manual. It's the board impact plan. And so just kind of coming full circle, being on the board, we ask that all staff and all board help with the resource development efforts that we have going on. And so like Katie said, not everyone's always willing to ask people for money, but there are other ways to get involved and to help us fundraise. And so here is hopefully what you've seen. And we ask that all board members take a look at this list and say, okay, I can host an endowment cocktail party, or I can attend some kind of fundraising event during the fund drive, or give a few, make a few calls to people who received the summer appeal letter and just ask if they'd be willing to make a donation. So we have a variety of ways that people can get involved depending on their comfort level, and just to help us push the needle forward with our fundraising efforts.
So as far as outreach and advertising, just to kind of go over the high level overview of what we look at. As far as the social media platforms that we really engage with, definitely Facebook is the biggest platform that we utilize and get the most engagement on. And so that's kind of what we focus on. It's also, our demographic as far as clients served varies from 20 to 40. Obviously, it extends beyond that, but I would say the most people, the majority of the people who utilize our homeownership services are in that range. And as well as, we definitely have the donor base and the supporter base that is probably more to that, 35 and up. And so Facebook really becomes a tool for us that reaches the broadest audience with that. But we do utilize Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. Again, those last three a little less consistent than the other ones, but we definitely try, if we're going to utilize a platform, we definitely try to utilize it. We don't have all of the secondary kind of platforms, as we kind of try and focus our time on the ones we have time for. And if we don't have time for it, not trying to pretend that we do. As far as paid advertising, currently right now, it kind of shifts from year to year and budget and what's worked in the past and what we want to try. But currently, we've consistently used social media boosted posts, radio advertising we've used the last couple of years and have had a good return on that. And then Google AdWords as well, which is a grant through Google that we do. And so it is technically paid, but we don't actually pay for it, which is wonderful. We have used a lot of other paid communication or paid ad channels. We've done TV ads very occasionally. It usually is out of our budget, but when it is possible, we have done that. Paid content, we've done that with Cara TV a couple times. Print ads occasionally, billboards. So a lot of these things, again, we kind of talk about all of them and see what makes sense, and kind of adjust based upon what we have going on and what the intended, what we're intending to do. One hard part that we face when we're talking about paid advertising is, people are like, we should try this and this and this. And a lot of the time what we're advertising is our homeownership center and the resources such as down payment assistance and homeowner education and those kind of things. And those are the exact services that don't cost anything, which is wonderful, but it becomes, we really have to be strategic on the money we spend to get more people in the door. And so with that, TV ads become really hard to justify for the price when you're looking at what you're advertising for. And so again, occasionally you'll see us trying some different things, but really trying to be strategic with our money and realize the outcome versus what we're looking at, and justify that in a way that makes sense every year. As far as so that's kind of the paid version. We do a lot of things that we don't have to pay for, that gets us out in the community. Community spotlights with the news channels, which have kind of died down with COVID, but hopefully we'll get back on the roundabouts with that. A lot of partner events, going and doing booths at job service, all sorts of different events, home and gardening, what women want. We do a lot of those, as well as some smaller ones. Those are kind of bigger ones, but public service announcements through the radio, utilizing community calendars, press releases. So just trying to get our name out. I think we have a pretty consistent process of making sure that we're out and about in the community. And a lot of that has to do with, I put events, because we feels like we do events constantly. And so that definitely helps get our name out and gives us a reason for all this outreach too. So I'll turn it over to Chelsea. We have a lot of events, but we kind of wanted to just showcase some of the larger ones that are a little more popular and a little more known. You're muted, Chelsea.
You'd think I would know by now. So starting with our high school house events, we just hosted our open house event, but we do two kind of signature high school house events: the groundbreaking every fall, usually in September, and then the open house in May once the home is complete. So these are really great community building events. A lot of different community leaders, business partners come to this, and it's just a great way for the students to kind of show off their work, and to show our partnership with the Great Falls Public Schools. Then we have Dream Street. So this is the final event for our Owner Built Homes program. And Katie, I have not been to a Dream Street event because COVID left.
I just realized that. I was like, oh, I told her to cover this and she's never been to one. So yeah, the last one that we did was in 2019 with COVID. We couldn't really do it, but basically it's close to the end of the build. They're not totally done, because obviously once they're totally done, they move all their stuff in, and then they don't want a bunch of strangers in their house. So it's a timing thing. So this one ranges depending on when the build starts. I think this year it'll probably be like late September, October, maybe. Other years it's August. So it just kind of depends on the build cycle and where they are. But basically we just get a lot of community partners together and have a celebratory kind of open house where people can walk through some of the houses, learn about the program, and really just celebrate the 10 families that have worked so hard over the year.
Next, we have NeighborWorks Week, which we just wrapped up on Friday. And so during NeighborWorks Week, we provide a lot of different outreach events. So we did several trolley tours, which we do every year. And so this is an opportunity for people out in the community to take a tour of Great Falls and see the impact that NeighborWorks has had on the community over the last 40 plus years. Additionally, this year, something new that we did was a safety panel. We did that on Monday. And so that was a great way to bring together some community leaders and talk about getting to know your neighbor as a way to, create a safe neighborhood. And then every year we do our Most Improved Awards, which is a way for us to honor those in the community who have improved their own home or business, and improve Great Falls overall. And so we hosted that event actually on Thursday. And so we had a pretty good turnout. So some of those events we have annually, but like the safety panel, I think there are different things that we do every year that we don't necessarily do each year. So it's a great way for us to get involved with NeighborWorks America. And we also have our community cleanup every year. So this is a pretty big community building event. And so a lot of those partners that participate in our fund drive also participate with our community cleanup. And they either choose a specific location that they want to clean up around the community, or they ask us to assign them to a specific spot that needs cleaning. And they take a team from their organization and spend a Friday morning or a Friday afternoon helping to clean up downtown, or they might clean up a neighbor's house, or just any kind of public space out in the community. So this is a great way for them to do some bonding, as well as for them to contribute to Great Falls. And then other smaller events that we have throughout the year, we have our annual open house. We do a spray and sod days, which is typically the entire month of May. We do our annual meeting every April, where we're just doing an annual review of the work that we have going on and talking about all of our efforts. We have our fund drive festivities. We're thinking about doing a home buyer fair. Again, we planned to do it last year, but COVID happened, so that is on the schedule for next year. And then just other kind of miscellaneous events, different resident engagement events, or different smaller fundraising events that we kind of sprinkle throughout the year. So we wanted to open it up and see if you guys had any questions about anything that we had talked about, or anything that we didn't touch on. You can always send us an email as well if you have questions later on. But we wanted to thank you all for tuning in.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Chelsea.
Of course. And Chelsea didn't mention she's also a professional photographer, as seen on the screen. And so we have a lot more wonderful client photos since she's come along. So that's a wonderful marketing tool that we get to reap the benefits from for years to come now. So
thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. If
Thanks,
you guys have
everyone.
any questions, just reach out and let us know. Have a good one.
Thanks.